4, 3, 2, 1.
This broadcast, telecast, podcast, and whatever the hell else it is copyrighted by the Rad Network and the Rob and Steve Sports Show, all found at theradnetwork.com, and is for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, account, or descriptions of this madness without the express permission of the Rad Network and Williams Broadcasting and Rob's Really Mean Lawyers is prohibited. So just don't do it.
It's the Rob and Steve Sports Show.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection. Oh, great block. James out of nowhere. Huge defensive play by the four-time MVP.
Welcome to 2 hours of sports and nothing but sports.
This is for sole possession of the lead. Maybe. Yes, sir!
Email the show, ras@theradnetwork.com.
Play clock at 5. Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler. Unreal.
And I'm sorry, but I can't believe the call.
Me neither.
I cannot believe the call.
And now, the Rad Network presents the Rob and Steve Sports Show.
New week, welcome into the Rob and Steve Sports Show. You can email us, ras@theradnetwork.com. We are also now 100 on Spotify. You can go to theradnetwork.com, click on the Spotify button. All of the Rob and Steve shows are available, and we will post this show shortly after it ends as well, as we continue to roll out ways that you can enjoy the show, which is going to be a little different today for a variety of reasons. For one thing, if you're listening live, the show is going to end a little early, about 12:45, but we're going to do everything we can to pack everything into the time that we have. And there's so much, Steve. When we left on Friday, we were wondering how many championship teams would we be talking about, if any, today. I would love if we could somehow convey what our texting can be like, because it really kind of sums up, if we start in the NBA. There it is again, Steve. I can go back. We can go through numbers and things like that. The Knicks faced a 10-point deficit in San Antonio, and oops, Knicks win again. My favorite text from you might have been because there were a lot of them, because I was the basketball game was on, but I was also watching baseball at the time because it was early in the game or midway through the game, and the Spurs were up. They were up. They're like, okay, here we go. And you texted me something simply as Fox is just terrible, and I'm like, am I watching the baseball game on Fox? What did they just? Oh, he means De'Aaron Fox. So. Overall view, Steve, I'll jump in at some point, but what's your? I remember so many others, but what's your overall view this morning of the Knicks winning this series 5-1 over San Antonio?
First of all, I want to say my apologies to you. I feel so bad for you with all the texts that I get, because you really do. You get the full, unfiltered thought that goes through my mind at that moment. No holding back. And I'll tell you that the Spurs were won all 5 games and lost the series 1-4. The Spurs blew every single game. They come out great. They're only up, it's what, 42-37. They're up 5, and the Knicks, I think, shot 20% from the floor in the first half. They were awful, and the Spurs couldn't do anything about it. Every game, Spurs highest scoring quarter, like first quarter, second highest second quarter, third highest third quarter, fourth quarter, worst quarter of the game. In every game, they hit the fourth quarter. They have no clue. De'Aaron Fox, 3 for 15. They only have him credited for 1 turnover. I swear he had more than that. He was as bad of a player And I'm not saying as bad as a 40, $50 million player. I'm saying as bad of a player as I've seen anyone in this series that still gets playing time. It was awful to watch.
I'm gonna stay on the Spurs, and we'll bounce around a little bit. First text that came in as things were getting ugly was this is from Steve to me. Fox sucks so bad. That's when I thought he was talking about the network, and then he said he's awful, can't shoot, turnover machine. Later, Spurs are such chokers. It's almost comical how badly they continue to choke in this series. I can't believe I even thought the Spurs would win a game. And I think you kind of touched on it there, Steve. A lot of people, including myself, viewed this whole series as credit to the Knicks. They're the champs. But the Spurs, we had that quote on Friday. Somebody said the Spurs have dictated the outcome of every single game, and it was no different Saturday night. The Spurs lost this series. Credit to the Knicks, they're the champs, but the Spurs lost this series.
In every way. I don't understand it, and how I had such high hopes for the Spurs after the defeat of the Thunder, to where I was going, wow, the Thunder really got to think about what they're going to do to be able to compete in the Western Conference over the next several years, because what we thought was going to be a great window and they would dominate possibly for the next 3 to 5 years. I went, man, I'm not sure they're even going to get another title after this year. And they really have to look at their roster. Then I watched the Spurs play, and I'm like, wow, I like the Thunder's chances right now. And I know Wemby, and he's trying to say all the right things, but I'm even tired of Wemby and his excuses on how this is going to fire me up, and I've learned my lesson and we're going to change things. Actions speak louder than words, and he's thrown a lot of words out there, to where I view him now as, I think this offseason, he's got to go work on his offensive game. I mean, how many fadeaways from, to the right or left of the free throw line is he going to put up? You're 7'4". What are you doing a fadeaway for? Take the ball, go up over, and I said it last week, learn a skyhook, learn something,
Right.
because you need to become an offensive threat. And you're really not. Yes, you can shoot from three a little bit, but you were 1 for 6 in this last game. You didn't shoot the ball from three very well. Yes, you made a clutch three against the Thunder late in the game from like 35 feet or whatever it was, but that's once in a while. It's not consistent. I don't think his offense is consistent enough to dominate. Karl Anthony Towns needs a lot of credit, and I've been critical of him over the years. Him and Mitchell Robinson really took Wemby out of the game offensively. Credit to him. Chet Holmgren, did you watch any of that series? Because this is what you should have done, and you were too afraid to even try to bump elbows with him. You backed off, allowed him to do whatever. I'm a team out there now. I just want a big guy. Give me two big guys. I don't care if they score offensively. I'm just going to beat on Wembanyama going forward. I'm going to wear him down. I'm going to push him around. And he collapsed. And he's going to be a great player. I know it. But all of the talk and everything from him, I just got tired of it. Making excuses and how you're learning. Here's a thought. Make something happen now.
To his comments, Victor Wembanyama yesterday said after the game, quote, "It's painful. I'm not running away from that. I'm using it to fuel me. I'm not satisfied with not winning. This is the biggest lesson of my life. As a team, there's no better experience than what we just lived." And that is kind of the pablum that we've heard from him. And none of that'll matter until next year. Now everybody says, myself included, what you just said. Wemby's going to win championships. He's going to be a great player. Are we sure? Are we sure we're not witnessing the Dan Marino of the modern day NBA?
I'm not sure, because I think the Spurs have some roster moves they need to make. They need to bring in another big guy. De'Aaron Fox is a waste of time. I'm telling you. And I'm not the GM, as I keep saying, be glad. I liked De'Aaron Fox. I really enjoyed watching him play with the Sacramento Kings. This De'Aaron Fox is not even good. Bad decisions. It's like he doesn't know what to do with the ball. He can't shoot at all. What was he? 3 for 15 in this last game, 1 for 8 from 3. He doesn't distribute the ball great. He makes a lot of bad passes. Um, it was embarrassing to watch him. Now, on the other hand, Dylan Harper stepped up. I'm watching the end of that game, and I'm like, the only guy for the Spurs that wants the ball and feels comfortable in this moment is Dylan Harper. He's a 20-year-old kid, and he took leadership of the Spurs. He wanted the ball. Yes, he missed an easy layup. He had some he was the only one that even appeared to be comfortable in that moment. Give me the ball. Let me see what I can do. The rest of them all hit. I mean, it was incredible. Even Wemby, like, oh no, guy came out. I just, it was frustrating. I mean, what was it? A couple games ago where Wemby had a chance to win, he throws the ball off his teammate's butt. The guy's not even looking. He's running down the court. He throws the ball, like, don't you got to see their eyes or their belly button or something before you throw that pass? You don't want to see his butt and say, yeah, that's a good pass.
I think it was right around when Dylan Harper missed that layup that I texted you, and it wasn't Dylan Harper's fault. It was just the culmination of the Spurs were just missing shot after shot, look after look, and they were still in the game. Now, and what did you say about you texted me about De'Aaron Fox? You want to give him the John Wall treatment moving forward?
Yeah, it was John Wall with the Wizards, or some reason I want to throw the Rockets in there that they just paid him and said, don't even show up. Don't come to practice. Don't come to games. Just don't even show up. I want to say it was like his last 2 years or something crazy like that he just didn't play, got paid, and we're willing to pay you to just not be on this team.
Because if I remember correctly, your comments, the De'Aaron Fox contract situation is a big problem
Mhm.
for the Spurs, and you don't see a way for them to move off of him. And he clearly, and everyone has said, he clearly was not the De'Aaron Fox we all have known in this series at all, ever.
No, not at all. And not just this series, the whole playoffs. I've been harping on him because I thought he's looked terrible in the entire postseason. Maybe he does need to go back. Send him to Brooklyn or something like that, a team that has no chance of making the playoffs. And, hey, great. He looks fine in a game with no meaning. I saw a proposed trade as I'm thumbing through, I think it was yesterday, and just laughed. It was the Brooklyn Nets. Well, the Spurs receive nothing. The Brooklyn Nets receive De'Aaron Fox, 2 number ones, and a number 2.
What?
So they were trading De'Aaron Fox, 2 number ones, and a number 2 to get him off the team and get rid of the contract.
I actually do have a Brooklyn Nets legitimate trade rumor that we'll get to here in a few. So we always do this with the losing teams. We right away. You've already mentioned Holmgren a few times. We started with OKC. What does OKC need to change? What do they need to do with their eyes primarily on the Spurs? Now the Spurs won the West, and then they really they lost to the Knicks again. World champs, can't take it away from them, but there's tougher teams in the East. I don't know. Do the Spurs need to look at OKC? Do they need to look at who they have to face in the West? Or do they need to just build like the Yankees, are building for the Dodgers? Is that the Spurs just need to build for a team in the East? What do the Spurs need to do? Because this was everybody going in. We talked about it. They're inexperienced. They haven't been there before. This was more anemic than inexperienced.
I think the Spurs need to get some size, physicality. I would be looking at Julius Randle. I believe he's a free agent from the Timberwolves. I know Julius Randle disappears in the playoffs, and that's the big knock against him. But so do the whole Spurs team. But at least Julius Randle isn't afraid to take those shots and live in the moment, even though he hasn't been successful. Get some more size. Take them off of Wemby a little bit. Go after Joel Embiid. Go and bring him in. They got to bring in some size and not just a Cornet. You need some size to help Wemby out. It's the same thing with the Thunder. They need some size. Holmgren's not big enough. I'm not sure Holmgren's ever going to fill out enough to be able to absorb the big guys and the pushing in the middle. I believe Wemby can, and he might fill out a bit, but for me, I got to go get some size.
So on the other side, excuse me, on the other side, on Friday, when we were talking about MVP, and it was basically Brunson, Anunoby, Brunson, Anunoby. In the end, Jalen Brunson was named the MVP. Did you like that choice?
I, well, I think it was the obvious choice, and they needed to go there. Um, it just, Jalen Brunson, and again in the deciding game, 45 points, had a really good game, 14 for 27 from the floor. I understood it. Uh, I was leaning towards, I thought OG Ananobi had just such a fantastic series. He really stepped up, and it didn't have the biggest game five as it was all Jalen Brunson. So I think I had Ananobi a little bit closer than what probably the vote turned out, but it was Brunson's.
In fact, Brunson scored almost half, 48% of the Knicks' points in the NBA Finals clinching game Saturday. That ties Michael Jordan for most in finals history in a championship clincher, which has led to some very interesting headlines. We already knew the debate over Jalen Brunson, is he the greatest New York Knick of all time? Essentially, it was coming down to whether or not they needed to win a championship. And other than that, either he already was or he would be after the Knicks won. But now, even you're getting headlines like Jalen Brunson etches his name among the game's greatest. Now, you can take that as okay, he did what Jordan did in one game. So he etched his name there. Where are we with Jalen Brunson on greatest Nick of all time? Is he starting to build a resume to be in the conversation down the road as one of the greatest?
As far as greatest Knicks of all time, I put him in there. Patrick Ewing, Carmelo Anthony, Bernard King, Walt Frazier. There's a lot. And if you're going to say he's number one, I'm not going to dispute it. He won a championship. He has really stepped up the last several years. Greatest of all time in that kind of, man, I can't even go there. I mean, the first player that jumps off the page to me, Reggie Miller. Great career, great player. Have we ever once talked about Reggie Miller being one of those top 20 players of the NBA all time? And I'll take Reggie Miller and his career right now over Jalen Brunson any day. So I don't even see Jalen Brunson in the top 50 at this point. So, well, yes, he's played really well. He could be the greatest Knick of all time. To hit the top 50 even NBA players of all time, no chance.
By the way, the New Yorkers they New Yorked Saturday. It wasn't more over the top than say every major city has been doing for the last dozen years or so. For some reason, when your team wins, you burn your city down. There were a couple of shootings. There were some face-offs with cops. There were cars destroyed, a bus lit on fire, etc. The next concern is will they just repeat it all on Thursday, which is when they're doing their championship parade. And then everybody that's at the parade, all the fans, will be drinking the whole time, and then will it just de-evolve yet again? That's just to kind of highlight that point that it all occurred. But where are the Knicks then, Steve? They're still in the East. They've still got the Celtics amongst others. A lot of seems like there's going to be a lot of movement and a lot of changes in the East in the offseason. What do they do with Mike Brown? What do the Knicks need to do? Can the Knicks? Well, of course, anybody can, but what's the likelihood they repeat? What do they have to do to defend their position?
Well, what are they going to do with Mike Brown? They better sign him to a long-term contract because it's been 50 years or 53 years or whatever it's been since they've won. And Mike Brown, some of the moves he has made, the down by 29, and he puts Alvarado on the court with Brown because he wanted speed. It was the eye test. It was not analytics. He can coach. We've known this. You look back at what he did with the Kings. Sign him to a 5-year contract extension, give him his money. He's won a championship and move forward there. As far as the Knicks, they're in the East. It's a much weaker conference than the West. They have some quality players. I don't know who is up for free agency or where they stand on contracts. I think they're probably going to have to do a little bit of movement. Jalen Brunson, I don't know where his contract's at, but you have to figure he's got to get a max deal. It's going to happen because now you're talking about him being the greatest Nick. You can't lose him, so pay him his money. Is Carl Anthony Towns going to stick around? You know, Mikal Bridges, they brought him in. That was a big pickup. Yes, he was a contributing piece, but I don't think he was a leader of this team and or that really important piece. I think him and Anunoby is much closer to similar players. Anunoby has shown he can get it done. Um, so there's a few things here and there. And shout out, I am so critical of Mitchell Robinson over the years. Mitchell Robinson, his offensive boards, and I mean the one he got late in the game that sealed the game. It's just in the little bit that he plays, he really, really stepped up and contributed. He doesn't complain anymore about his playing time and everything like that. I think he's accepted his role and he's doing a really good job with it. So I think the Knicks will compete for the Eastern Conference final next year. And I'm curious to see the Celtics will be there. I don't doubt that. I'm curious to see what the Sixers do with Joel Embiid. How do the Pacers come back? Keep in mind, the Pacers were in the finals last year. Halliburton goes down. And what are they going to do? I don't think they address. Well, they tanked it. That's number one. Tanked it, got the draft pick because they expect this year to compete. And then you look at the Hawks, and the Hawks, are they going to be really good this year? The Wizards, believe it or not, have some talent on that roster, but it's the Wizards, so you can't really put them there. And Detroit, they got to figure out, do you build off this last season, or was this last season a fluke and we saw your true colors in the playoffs, and how are they going to proceed from here?
If he gets what he wants, and Giannis winds up in Miami, but never mind the machinations of how that happens, are the Heat a real contender?
I think they are, just because the Heat organization, as much as I don't really care for the Heat, what a great organization. They do everything right. They never have a rebuild. Even when they're in a rebuild, they've lost some players, they need to move on. They find a way to compete year in, year out. They do a great job with their draft picks, and they sign good role players. It's a system in Miami. That's a big difference from these other teams. They are a system. They have to get players that buy into it. And when they do, they find a way to compete all the time. They don't have the talent, but if they get Giannis, I think they will compete.
What is it about Miami that you don't care for after you just sung their praises for 90 seconds?
It's the LeBron, Wade, it is that Chris
talents to South
Bosh.
Beach that ruined everything.
Yeah. It was just that, hey, let's go buy a championship. It really soured me towards Miami. I love their coach and Spoelstra. Riley to me is one of the greatest basketball minds ever. I put it as a coach, as a GM, as a president. Pat Riley is incredible in the basketball world.
So what I loved, just going back to the Knicks, I did love seeing that Mike Brown got the credit. There was a lot of talk about the moves that Mike Brown was making and how much credit he deserved, because that doesn't always happen, and that was nice to see. And he did coach his butt off, and he should get his extension like yesterday. Jalen Brunson, you were talking about him. He is currently under a 4-year, $156 million contract extension with the Knicks. Signed a team-friendly extension in July of 24, leaving over $110 million on the table to give the front office the salary cap it needed. This contract goes through the 28-29 season. Do you think so? They've got him wrapped for 2 more seasons. Should they just lock him up now and say, you're the greatest of all time, and do him and Brown and just get that over with and move forward?
He left money on the table. I always
Right.
respect a player for doing that. Listening to his heart and what he wants to do, and not his agent. So congrats to him. But these are the spots where I believe the organization needs to do right by him. Renegotiate the contract, give him some of that money back that he lost, add some. Look, you're a Nick forever. You want us a championship. You could play here as long as you want, and we're going to reward you for that. Don't view it as, well, we're going to start paying him on what he contributes for the 29, 30, 31, and 32 season. No, 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 no. You got to go back and acknowledge what he has done and pay him his money, renegotiate in good faith, make him whole. And I think he would appreciate that as well. And as you brought up Mike Brown, you got to take care of it. I thought Mike Brown, outside of Jalen Brunson, was the second most important person on this Knicks team. I think he alone won 2 of their 4 games with what he did coaching, and coaches usually don't have that big a difference in it. But he did it by the eye test also. It wasn't, look, the analytics say we should do this. He saw the game. He saw the flow. He knew exactly how to help his team win. He made the decision, called the plays. Jalen Brunson executed, which is where he doesn't execute. Mike Brown doesn't do it. But Brown made the adjustments. As I said, I believe the Spurs won all 5 games. But Mike Brown and Jalen Brunson and the Knicks found a way to win 4 of those 5 games.
As I mentioned, we have plenty of NBA offseason news to get to and rumors and such. We'll circle back to that. After that, for Saturday night, what really kind of, for a casual hockey fan like me, felt like a womp womp, a thud. Everything came to an end last night as the Carolina Hurricanes defense put its stamp on the series, shut down the Vegas Golden Knights, 3-0 shutout last night, and clinched their first championship in 20 years. This was a great series, as you predicted, Steve, until last night. It just kind of, I was like, I didn't like it going out that way. I, of course, wanted to see a game 7 and all that. But Hurricanes, they adjusted and they did win the series.
Yes, this was the Hurricanes we have known over the years, which is where I've been so disappointed with them, with their playoff failures. Frederick Anderson is still in net. Maybe we're going to game 7 and let's see what it was. Going to Bussy. I mean, the worst thing that could have happened to the Knights was them going up 4-0 after the first 2 periods, and they pull Anderson out. From that point on, I mean, granted, the Knights won that game in double overtime, but in game 5, Bussy was great. In game 6, he was just outstanding. He's the one that shifted what we had seen as such a great series away. So many great plays in net, and the Hurricanes did what they do, which is that strong defense, just wear you down, that Iceman mentality of we're going to wait for you to make a mistake. And in game 5, their first line came out and played. I mean, we get Aho scoring. We saw that first line finally get productive. And, I preach about depth all of the time. And the Hurricanes have it as much as anyone in the NFL. That's why I love them year in and year out. And they'd been getting through the playoffs, that second, third, fourth line productions, which is needed, which is why you have the depth. But even in game 5, though, the first line just came to play. And they dominated the Golden Knights. And watching game 5 and game 6 was where I said, you know what? The Knights had such a fantastic last run, the last 8 games of the season and the playoffs. But this team we watched play 5 and 6 is much more of the Vegas Golden Knights we saw throughout the series. But it just showed, as we all keep saying, a hot goalie's tough to beat. And Bussy proved that point.
Looking forward to next year. Always, no surprise that the Carolina Hurricanes are favored to repeat, a little ahead of Colorado and the Vegas Golden Knights. So, with the various teams, including the Knights, did the Knights have to change anything? It sure seemed like they were a pretty damn good-looking, dominant team until they weren't, and it felt like maybe they were just outmatched by Carolina. But what do these teams need to do? Knowing that Florida still lurks, and there's so much talent in the NHL. What overall do you see somebody has to do?
Well, Vegas just keep doing what they do. Their GM is one of the smartest GMs in hockey. How can you complain? I mean, they've been to 3 Stanley Cups in 9 years. They've been in the playoffs, 8 of the 9 years. Every year they put them in a position to win. You have to love ownership like that. Do what it takes. And as a fan, sometimes it's tough. We watch Fleury go away. And I was saying to my wife last night, I'm like, look, Logan Thompson, this past year, he was, well, 2 years ago, he was traded from the Golden Knights to the Washington Capitals for a fourth round pick. And we watched Carter Hart in there, but Logan Thompson 2 years ago had an outstanding breakout season. This last year, he was the second team all NHL goalie, which means he was the second best goalie in all of hockey. I'm sitting there going, he was on the Knights. He came up through their system. You know who he was. Just think if they had him in net versus Carter Hart. And Carter Hart had a great series, well, playoffs. He just didn't perform to that exceeding level in the Stanley Cup. Edmonton's a mess right now. I don't know what's going on there. Nurse has come out and said he wants to be traded away. The team that surprised me, because I right now would say I would think I got the Wild ahead of the Vegas Golden Knights for futures odds, because this Wild team was really good. The NHL, Toronto, what are they going to do? I mean, are they going to dismantle? They got to do something. They got Matthews there who's wasting away. There's so many great questions in the NHL on how these teams, move forward.
What about Colorado? They were the best team in the whole league, but then, President's Cup curse or whatever you want to call it. What about Colorado?
Colorado's still really talented. They have a lot of talent on that team. This past year, my big knock for the last many years has been goaltending and defense. And this last year, their goaltenders were number one in the league. Their defense really was improved from what they've done in the past. And then they hit the playoffs against the Knights and it fell apart. So for me, I'd still be looking at the net and can they find a way to upgrade in that goalie position? But I love their philosophy, pucks on net. They fire away. They want to score. They play that up tempo. I love what Colorado does, and I think they will be one of the top teams again next year.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP, M-A-P, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com. If you've never heard of microseal, let me tell you what it isn't. It is not a really small marine mammal. Get it? A microseal? Oh, fine. Just ask AI. AI describes MicroSeal this way with a bunch of AI words. MicroSeal is a premium, eco-friendly, and biodegradable fabric protection spray that penetrates deep into fibers to provide permanent stain, soil, and sun fade resistance for rugs, furniture, and delicate fabrics. It uses nanotechno blah 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 and blue 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 blue. What AI is trying to say is that MicroSeal is non-toxic, non-allergenic, safe for pets and children, and although AI doesn't say this, it should, you need to contact a longtime maggot Joel from AdvantageSteam.com right now to get him to apply MicroSeal for you. You can even make appointments online at AdvantageSteam.com. We've had MicroSeal for years at Williams Manor, and it treats a lot more than carpets. MicroSeal protects virtually all fibrous materials, including wool, cotton, silk, suede, leather, and synthetic fabrics. It protects upholstery, carpets, rugs, draperies, and clothing, including wedding dresses. And ladies, you're going to need what? 3 or 4 of those in your lifetime. And it protects against stains, moisture, and UV degradation without changing the texture. Also, if you're an interior designer, Joel has a special program just for you, and all you have to do is say the password, which is what? What? There's no password, I guess. Never mind. Whoever you are, contact Joel at AdvantageSteam.com. And if you're an interior designer, tell him, I guess. I don't know. That's AdvantageSteam.com, where you'll learn more about MicroSeal and everything else that Joel offers. At AdvantageSteam.com, that's AdvantageSteam.com, AdvantageSteam.com.
The Rob and Steve Show on the Rad Network. Let's get back to it. Email Rob and Steve, RAS@theradnetwork.com.
Back we go to the Brendan Sorsby story. He's the Texas Tech quarterback who the NCAA launched an investigation against for gambling, not only on his own team, but on sports in general. Obviously, he checked himself into rehab, came back and said, I completed the program. I have an addiction, and the NCAA said, well, that's awful. We feel for you, but there still has to be a punishment. And then all of this wound up in the courts, and it's still in the courts. I don't know that there's anything groundbreaking here, but when you're Deion Sanders and you speak, people listen. He was asked about the Brendan Sorsby story, and Deion said, quote, somebody's gambling on a sport they're playing. You don't think something's wrong with that? Say that to yourself. This guy on my team is gambling on the sport in the competition that we're about to go out there and have. Something's wrong with that. The game is still the game. The game is just positioned differently. Money's involved. And anytime money's involved, people tend to migrate to what they think they can get out of it instead of what they can put into it, and that's unfortunate, end quote. As I said, I don't know, that's groundbreaking. That's Deion, to me, in good Deion mode, the fatherly, like, what are we doing here kind of mode, and appropriate comments.
I agree with them. It's a common sense statement. You know, what are we doing that we're fighting to allow people who have gambled not only in the sport, but on my team and fighting to allow him to continue playing? What kind of message does that send to every other athlete in college sports?
If I didn't fill in the circle, because I forget, not everybody listens all the time. Not enough people are reporting on this. As it worked its way through the court, as it stands now, Sorsby can't play the first 2 games, but he can play this year. And then there's all this other revolting going on that we're going to talk about here at the next move with the Big 12. Steve, other than the answer of he broke the rules, which he did, that's what the NCAA said. They said, look, you broke the rules. You can't bet. And so you have to be punished. Other than that, what is your pushback to people who say, yeah, he bet on his own team, but never when he would affect the outcome, never, and he never bet on them to lose or whatever it is, to kind of like say, like, wait a minute, why are we being so mean to this kid?
One, he's part of the team. He has inside information that the general public, you and I, do not have access to. That's an issue right there. And as he has that information, it's bad enough if he passes it on to other friends to allow them to have, you know, I view this as the same as insider trading. Once you have this type of information that is not for public knowledge, not for other people participating, I think there's a problem when you use that to your advantage. And then you can get into, oh, well, he bet on his team. Okay, Pete Rose is the classic example. Pete Rose states he bet on his team every time he bet on the Reds. Well, it was also shown that when Bill Gullickson pitched and he was a starting pitcher for the Reds, Pete Rose did not bet on his team on those days. So is he saying that Bill Gullickson's a bag of crap and he shouldn't be in my rotation, but I have to put him out there because he has a contract? What exactly is the message saying? If I support my team true and true day in and day out, then I should be betting my team every day. If I'm not betting a pitcher, does it mean, hey, I'm going to pull him out here in a key situation? I'm going to go to the bullpen and I'm going to bring a really bad reliever in because, well, I didn't bet on the Reds today. So I'm going to use this guy. And in a position where you can control it, that's the problem for Pete Rose that I had was if he bet him every day and they proved it, so be it. He loved the Reds. We all know this, and he backed them every single day. But so did Sorsby bet on these player props every time, or was it one of those? No, I know my wide receiver has a little bit sore knee. He's not going to be out there every time. He's not running at 100% because he has full access to who's healthy, who's not, and nobody makes a bet to lose. I don't care who you are. You can say it's for fun, but everybody makes a bet to win. Otherwise, you just light your $20 up on fire and say, look at this. I could just light money on fire and light a cigarette or, just throw it in the sink, whatever. Nobody does that. If you're making a bet, you're making a bet because you want the adrenaline rush and it brings excitement. And I believe in betting on games because it does bring that additional excitement to the game for us. You're more involved, you pay more attention, and you get that pleasure out of it. Just keep in mind it is entertainment. So I don't buy his whole argument of, oh, well, I did this and I wasn't intending to win. I was just making the bets. And he's so guilty because he made thousands of bets. It's not a one-time thing. He's not a case of it's the first time I ever did it and they caught me. I've never done this before. I've done it for thousands of times. And yes, I did finally get caught.
By the way, quick off rip here. I'm always, I don't know, not flabbergasted or blown away, enthralled maybe, and obviously these guys are on a whole other level. But when Colin Cowherd and or Pat McAfee, especially during the NFL season, will talk about their bets that they made and how much they won or how much they lost, and they are throwing around these exorbitant numbers. I get it. To them, they're not. But I mean, even at times when I've been doing really well in life, I'm like, I don't know that I could bet that kind. Wow. I mean, even if you do it relative to how much we think these guys make, I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot of money.
And that's one of the things, and this is where the problem gaming comes into, is a person's going to bet to where they get that adrenaline, that feel. You're not going to just, hey, look, I play blackjack and I'm playing, $2 a hand, and now I bet 500 on the hand. Believe me, I'm sweating that $500 a lot more than I am the $2. And if I get used to the 500s, what I get that thrill from, when you're betting $2, I mean, what's the point? And that's the part is those people like Colin Cowherd, etc. They're betting at that level. And I wish I had their inside information to the extent
Right.
that they do, so I could bet at a higher level. But you're betting at that level where you get that extra thrill, that motivation, that spark, to enjoy it, to have that thrill of victory when you cash the ticket.
That is another interesting angle to just the betting thing. Don't keep the what's the other thing? The Kalshi, whatever those are called, the prediction market. Keep that out of it. The access, like for example, just Colin Cowherd, that he has just information. Guy dines with the general manager of the Rams like once a week. They have like all of this inside quote. I don't begrudge them anything, but I never even kind of considered that when you add in the amount of money that they're laying down.
I was gonna say the sad part is you hear and see their picks and they're still losing.
Yep.
Which again shows the game's not played on paper. I mean, I've been doing this for 40 years and there's still times that I just, wow, didn't see that one coming. and you watch it happen. And I'm wrong on my bets sometimes too.
Um, is there something wrong with me that I get such a kick out of the lower numbers, Steve? Because I live in California. I can only do the prop betting, and I do really enjoy it for the NFL. I really don't bet on anything else, because I feel like I'm much more educated and enthralled in the NFL. It doesn't help me, but I'll do like maybe two, of the prop bets, maybe four on a certain day, and it'll be like 30, $40, and it still excites me. I still want to see, did I win my $60 or whatever. It's because it's fun.
Which is wonderful. Keep that. The part that I always tell everyone, this is entertainment. This is your entertainment dollar. I've watched those who have tried to make livings at this. Over my 40 years, there's only a couple of people that really can make a living at it. And it's not that they are that great, it's they are that connected with inside information, even more so than us odds makers are. But keep that part, enjoy it, because every game is so much more exciting when you have, uh, a wager vested. So you're vested in that outcome. It keeps you interested through the whole thing. The other part I would tell you is everyone handicaps the NFL. Everyone handicaps the top Power Five conferences, Power Four conferences in college football, college basketball. Those are tough to beat because everyone spends all their time and there's nothing that gets by anyone in handicapping those. The sports you want to beat that you can beat are hockey, baseball, and college basketball small conferences, and even college football small conferences. I, as an odds maker, I got to look at everything. I mean, that's one of the things I do is I have to stay up on every sport, every team. Do you really think I'm going to look at the Big West basketball conference and know those teams and who the players are, on their rosters? No, I don't have the time to do that. Odds makers don't have the time to do it. Odds makers take summers off and go on vacations because they work so hard from Labor Day through March Madness that you hit April, May, June, July, and they're like, oh, I just need some break. This is when they take their vacation. So for me, baseball has always been the easiest sport to beat because the odds makers just go with whatever comes up, and yeah, okay, and they don't study it. It's day in and day out, so it just wears them down. They don't want to put in the time, and then come August, they're gearing up for football again.
So the Brendan Sorsby story, where the court said, he can play this year, but he can't play the first two games or whatever. Now, what happened was all the Big 12 schools started saying, well, we're just not going to play them, and not just in football, but in any sport. We're just not going to schedule them, and make it trickle down and make it hurt. Texas Tech last week, we read their statement about how they're standing by Brandon Sorsby, and there's a lot of integrity to that, et cetera. Today, the Big 12 has sued Texas Tech and various individuals, including the Texas Attorney General, seeking a declaratory judgment and an injunction regarding the Big 12's ability to sanction Texas Tech if it uses Sorsby in a game. The complaint mentions gambling controversies from the Black Sox to Pete Rose and beyond, and it attempts to differentiate the lawsuit filed by Sorsby against the NCAA, treating the application of Big 12 bylaws as a separate issue from the application of NCAA bylaws. This is where everybody's eyes glaze over, Steve, because we very quickly start talking legalese. Nobody knows, what are you talking about? Bylaws and declaratories, etc. This is the part that I hate about this, that the courts are involved and everybody's screaming individual rights, team rights, school rights, bloody rights, because like we talked about last week, why can't they just let these things police themselves? Let the baseball players handle the plunkings. Let the hockey guys. Yeah, I know those days are over, but this is the latest salvo that the Big 12 has fired today.
Yeah, I would say the biggest part and how I read it is the Big 12 countersued Texas and Texas,
Right.
The Texas AG and Texas Tech for what they're doing. Things like this for me is just shows why lawyers have a bad rap, why we are all so tired of lawyers and everything. And there's many lawyers, wonderful people, but whenever we get the lawyers involved, it a lot of times, in my opinion, it just turns into a waste of time. Use some common sense here. Texas Tech, yes, stand by him, support him. Don't pull his scholarship. Let him go get his degree. Just don't let him play football. If you're that worried about him, make sure he goes to his Gamblers Anonymous meetings. He stays away from that. Track him. Do everything you can to support him. Give him all the support you can so he doesn't make any more bad decisions. But I don't see how you can let him play football. You have to look at it as setting a precedence, not for him, but for every athlete in college sports. And what does it do to college sports as a whole? They're not viewing it that way. They're viewing it as, we want to win a national championship. He gives us our best chance for the university to make money, possibly make the playoffs. And these are the things that I just hate, is when you take the common sense out of it. He knew it, he did it, he chose to do it, let him have the consequences. And we as a society in Texas Tech need to support him, because he does. It is an illness. He has an illness. So let's support him, get through it. But you can't let him play football. I don't see how they can let him play football. And if they do, amateur sports as a whole are gone.
That is why Texas Tech should be policing this themselves. And if they can't, the Big 12 should. Because having been married to a lawyer for years, this is the problem, is when you have a law degree, you know there's always a case to be made. That's where the expression comes from. You can always find the angle. And all you've got to do is get the right people or persons either on the panel or in the jury. When you go to a lawyer and you say, this is what I want to do, they will find a way to make the argument. And you're absolutely right. This is where lawyers get such a bad rap, because there's always going to be some that are willing to make an argument that defies common sense. And they in my experience working with lawyers, they're delusionally certain that they're right. And you want a lawyer like that. I remember the first time I had to start dealing with lawyers, somebody said, all lawyers think they're God, just like doctors. And I remember thinking, you know what? If somebody's cutting into me or defending my livelihood, I really kind of think I want them to think they're God, because you want that. But it leads to this. It leads to these stories of, okay, so we're going to go in there and argue, and now it's all about dates and whether or not they can get the date set, and where this all, it turns out. Could I don't know about eligibility and all that, Steve. Could Texas Tech take the position of where you ended? We're going to support Mr. Sorsby. He does have it. We're so proud of him. He went through this program. However, he does have to pay his price to the NCAA, but we will keep him on the roster. Or so, is there a way they could just do that or commit to him next year? I don't know where he's at, because there was talk about him when he would get drafted in the supplemental. But that would be a way, without having your answer yet, that everybody could look good.
I think the first thing I would do is encourage him to enter the supplemental NFL draft. See if he gets drafted, see if a team takes a shot at him, brings him on board. If nobody does and he goes undrafted, it's too late for him really to become a free agent and have a legitimate shot at making a roster. At which point, then if I'm Texas Tech, I say, look, we're going to honor your scholarship for this year, and we're not giving you the NIL money. That went away because you're not playing, but you can still go to school here on that full ride, get an education. We're going to be here to support you, get you to your gambling meetings, and anything else you need. We're going to keep you with your tutors and everything to have your nutrition, with your food that they supply. You're still going to get your classes. We're going to have the tutor to help you pass your classes, and just help him as an individual get through this, learn how to live, and hopefully defeat his illness with gambling addiction, and let him live as normal of a life as he can. It isn't always about the money. It's about his well-being. And if you truly believe that, which is what Texas Tech is trying to go with, then back it up and do the things that I have said.
Couple of updates from the NFL stories we've been following. One of them, Baker Mayfield. He wants his quarterback long-term deal, and he himself says we're nowhere close. The rumors we have heard is the Buccaneers may have been thinking, $40 million-ish a year, and that Mayfield's crew walked in and said, How about $100 million? And now they're maybe around 60 million, but they're nowhere close. Over the weekend, Buccaneers coach Todd Bowles said there is absolutely no question he wants Baker Mayfield as his quarterback long term. His comments come after Mayfield said last week that he and the Bucs are, quote, not anywhere close to what we were thinking, end quote, regarding the new deal. He and his agent have said they would like a new deal done before training camp, and that if they don't have one, which is expected to be the final week in July, they will shut down any negotiations so that he can focus on football. Almost all of that we have heard except Todd Bowles making his public statement. Does that carry any weight? Whether it's how much of it is Todd Bowles related, a guy I like but has just not been able to put this together. He's made a lot of questionable decisions on the field as well. Does this matter at all? Does this make anybody in the front office of Tampa Bay go, oh, well, coach wants him? Or is this just a really good way of being a coach saying, I got you, but I really don't have anything to do about it?
I think it's a good way of saying, hey, I got you, but I really don't have anything to do with it. And the way the NFL rules are, Baker Mayfield doesn't have a ton of room to do anything. So shut it down. Don't negotiate. End of the year, Tampa Bay, if you have a great year, will franchise tag you. And then you'll get your money for 1 year. And if you play great again the following year, you'll be an unrestricted free agent and you can go sign elsewhere. Perform on the field. Eventually, Baker, you will get your money. You just need to, if this is the last year of his contract, and I don't know if it is, but by what he's saying and the stance he's saying, this hat should be the last year of his contract. Well, play great this year, get franchise tagged. If you don't play great, you're a free agent anyway, and Tampa Bay gets by with paying you what you are. And if you play great, they're going to franchise tag you. You're going to get to be one of the highest paid quarterbacks for that 1 year, play great again, and then get your contract. So it's only this season that he's really not getting his money if he really can perform.
The other lingering, ongoing, never-ending story, Brandon Ayuk has extended an olive branch. We're not sure. We told you about his 2 recent videos last week criticizing the Niners. They've now been deleted. Now, that doesn't mean you can't still find them, but he's taken them off his official pages. And a lot of people believe it's part of an effort to lay the foundation to get the Niners to just release him and let him go to the Commanders. Would the trade with the Commanders that a lot of people are talking about, anything, something. Ayuk accused the Niners of being afraid to let him sign with the new team originally, and then 2 days later, my favorite video of all time, only because he said about the 49ers, quote, they mad because they stupid, which I just think is one of the funniest things you can say that means nothing. They mad because they stupid. Well, he took him down, and we're all just sitting here waiting for this to be the next story that ends. And so maybe Ayuk is saying, all right, guys, come on. Can we just end this?
I don't care. I'm with you. I love his they stupid. No, really, you stupid. All you have to do is show up to mandatory and you force the Niners' hand. You're not even bright enough to figure that out. I know this. Why don't you show up to mandatory and force their hand? You stupid.
Back to basketball, we talked about the Knicks winning the championship. Now everybody is in off-season mode, and all the rumors are amping up. Latest report is, of course, we got to start with LeBron, waiting to see where he lands. The feeling remains the Lakers are the slight favorite. Cavs and Warriors are legitimate contenders, and some of his decisions will come down to money. In all likelihood, the Cavs and Warriors will be limited to the mid-level exception as far as how much they can offer James, unless they're willing to do a sign-and-trade deal. Kurt Helen of NBC News over the weekend said that LeBron and his agent, Rich Paul, will ask the Lakers for a max contract, the $2 million or whatever. However, they will reiterate that the superstar wants the team to lay out a plan to improve its roster if he takes less than the max. This is exactly what Windhorst reported over a week ago. LeBron's going to go in and say, I'm staying with you if you pay me my $52.5 million. But wait, if you show me what you're going to do with $32.5 million of it, I'll take $20 million, or whatever the actual numbers are. According to the story, LeBron and his agent are going to ask for the max, and they want to know how the Lakers will spend the money. The organization is prioritizing re-signing Austin Reeves, also a free agent, and retooling the roster with players who better fit with Luka. and his skill set is where it stands today. I don't think we know anything new there.
I'm just a basic person who loves sports. I don't understand this. It's not about the money. Why are you asking for the max contract? Why aren't you just going to the Lakers? This was what a normal person would. Hey, listen, I'm interested in re-signing with you. I don't have to take a max contract. What are your off-season plans? Do I fit in them? And what are you planning to do for us to win a championship? If I like what I hear, I then, negotiate. And I've already told you I don't need a max. But where is the max contract? What purpose does that serve other than telling me as a fan that it ain't about winning? You want your money. I'm willing to play as long as you give me $60 million. I don't care what team I play on, but everything I've preached in my 24-year career is about winning championships, and I'm the greatest of all time. But I'll take 60 million and play for a bad team that has no chance. It's a bad message from LeBron. I want to stay with the Lakers. I want to know what you're going to do. I feel it's serious and it's something I will play for less money. Let's move forward. The thing I was hoping you'd bring up was how did the miniature golf go with Steph Curry and LeBron James over the weekend, before their dinner. And it's Monday. We haven't heard anything. Did they meet this last weekend?
First of all, I don't. I think you made up the miniature golf thing, and I
I
haven't.
did.
No, I don't have a report on whether or not they met. I do have a follow up though to the mentioning of Austin Reeves. Laker fans are somewhat assured that the Lakers will reach an agreement with their with their guard, Austin Reeves. However, he's expected obviously to opt out of his contract, become a free agent. Such an agreement is far from a foregone conclusion as more and more teams indicate they want to go after Austin Reeves. Ooh, lucky him, the Brooklyn Nets. Told you I had a story about them. Are expected to make a run at Reeves and possibly offer him a max contract. The Atlanta Hawks and your Detroit Pistons are also being mentioned as teams that are expected to make Austin Reeves an offer in free agency. You like any of those?
Not Brooklyn Nets. Let LeBron and Austin Reeves go to Brooklyn and do nothing. Pistons, yeah, they could use Austin Reeves, and I love hearing it because I think it drives up that price for the Lakers. I think they were, from what I had read, is they thought they were going to sign him to like a 40 million a year contract. If you have multiple teams after him, I don't know how high you can go because salaries are structured to what can he fully get. And I think he needs to shop it. I don't think they're going to win a championship there. Let's go test the value, find out where you want, and find out who wants you and a place that you're comfortable with, that you feel you can win a championship. And if the Lakers lose Austin Reeves, LeBron walks away, they free up a lot of money. Where are they really going to go spend it? Is I'd love to see how the Lakers rebuild. They have the Dodgers ownership, so I believe it's going to be very smart money, and they're going to turn this organization around. So I like the fact. What? Let's cut some contracts loose. Let's do with the Dodgers, and let's bring in. We're willing to spend the money. Let's bring in some players. We are the Lakers, just like we are the Dodgers, and let's dominate the NBA.
One of the other big names, obviously, is Giannis. Some updates over the weekend include rumors of a Giannis blockbuster trade that are ramping up. Also include one team that's backing out. The Golden State Warriors put their bid in for the 2021 NBA champion and Finals MVP back in February. We all remember that. They backed out then, and the Warriors are backing out now, despite the Bay Area being a potential landing spot for Giannis. Minnesota and Golden State were both prominent Giannis suitors in February, but sources say neither team has factored into the Bucks' recent trade talks. Giannis has 2 years remaining on his contract, becomes an unrestricted free agent in 28, and many teams have been linked, but it's the Miami Heat that seem to be the best fit and pose the best trade offers. That's where Giannis wants to go. According to multiple reports, the Heat are prepared to offer Tyler Herro, Kalel Ware, Jamie Jaquez Jr. Oh, sorry, that one. Nikola Jovic, and the number 13 overall pick in the 2026 NBA draft, and future picks. That's all according to the Stein line. And the Bucks are shopping around to see if anyone can beat that package. Can anyone do better than Miami saying Harrow, Ware, Jacquez Jr., Jovic, the number 13 overall pick, and future picks, all for Giannis?
It's a pretty big package by the Heat if that's really what it is. I mean, you're bringing Ware, you're bringing in, you know, the other players and future picks. The question I would ask Giannis is, okay, you want to go to Miami? Well, look, they just got rid of most everybody on the team. You're back to nothing. What's the difference between Miami and Milwaukee with who's left on the roster other than you're in Florida as opposed to Wisconsin?
With the Warriors out of the Giannis sweepstakes, there was chatter of the home run attempt that Steve was alluding to bring LeBron to the Bay Area to team with Steph Curry. ESPN NBA insider Mark Spears is now shooting down that notion, saying that someone close to James has suggested he's staying in LA. Now, the Warriors would need to get creative to bring him into their organization. Mark Spears, started throwing out numerous names that Golden State might target instead, like Anthony Davis or Kyrie Irving. One of the main things that Spears suggested the Warriors should do is bring back unrestricted free agent center Kristaps Porzingis and go to the Sacramento Kings and see what they would want for DeMar DeRozan. You like any of those for the Warriors?
I don't know about DeMar DeRozan. I'm not a big fan there. Anthony Davis, is he going to stay healthy? You're paying him a lot of money. He hasn't shown he could be healthy. Kyrie Irving, we got to see how he's going to rebound. We're bringing in another injured player. And is he going to be able to perform at the level? And is that money spent wisely? I think the Warriors have to take a gamble. I think they need to. I'd love to see him bring in AD and just let Anthony Davis play with the Warriors. I think would be fun with Draymond and Jimmy Butler and AD and Steph and let's see what they could do.
One more that's being mentioned over the weekend. The sweepstakes went up a notch when the Boston Celtics were reportedly among the front runners to acquire Giannis. Any move would mean the Celtics part ways with Jaylen Brown coming off the best season of his career thus far.
The thing I keep asking is, where did this whole thing with Jaylen Brown go so south? He's the one who carried him for this team. He put him in this position. Yes, they got beat early in the playoffs, but without Jaylen Brown, nobody gave the Celtics a chance going into the season, yet through the season, he carried them, got no respect in MVP voting. And the fact that he just went and put out a great season. And now it's like, oh, we're trading him. We're trading him. I cannot understand how it went so south for him so quick. And I know he stepped on himself when he said, he wasn't getting the respect that he felt he deserved, but he's really not getting the respect that he deserves now.
Is Giannis, Steve, because they're completely different sports, obviously. We've been saying, whatever team gets Tariq Skubal, assuming all things are equal, immediately becomes a better Major League Baseball team. They just become better. Is that true with Giannis?
I'm the player, and I don't see him moving. The player that I put to Giannis is Mike Trout. We're all viewing Mike Trout going somewhere else, but being healthy and being the Mike Trout that we all expect, and how much, if he is Mike Trout, he can help a team win a World Series, and it would be great to see that happen. Giannis has not been injury free. He's getting up there in age. As big guys, they don't necessarily age very well. He's got 2 years left, but he has. Are we trading and acquiring the Giannis that he was, or the Giannis that he may be right now? And that's a problem. Tariq Skubal, young, his future's way in front of him. He hasn't reached, I don't believe he's reached his peak yet, and won't for a couple more years. Giannis, to me, has reached his peak. The question is he still at his peak, or is he on that decline? And if he's on the decline due to injuries, how steep is that decline really going to be? And if you mortgage everything, and that's where I think the Thunder work, because even if he's on the decline, you bring him in for 2 years. You make your run, your windows right now, you run it in. It's where I think he does make sense for the Warriors, but the Warriors don't have the capital to go get him, especially when you say we're not going to trade the 11th pick overall in the draft. That won't be included. So that's where the Thunder, look, he plays 2 years. He helps us win a championship. It's worth it, even if he's then on a steep decline.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP, M-A-P, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com. Longtime advertiser Sue Berry, that's Berry with an A, is more important now than ever. Sue and her team have been serving Northern Nevada and the outlying areas for 30 years, and her experience in both commercial and residential lending is vital, as every day we're bombarded with news of interest rates, the market, the economy, and a bunch of other stuff that Sue can actually make sense of while everyone else's eyes glaze over. Now remember, it's Sue Berry with an A, B-A-R-R-Y, SueBerry.com. Most people think berry is spelled like a fruit or Halle Berry, but no, it's Sue Berry with an A, like soul singer Barry White's first name.
I've heard people say,
stop that. Sue is a broker versus a retail lender, which means she can shop over 150 different lenders to get you the very best rate possible. And on average, someone who uses a broker like Sue saves over $10,000 per loan, which includes refinancing. And if you have a rate at 6.5% or higher, call Sue for a free quote now on a refinance. Sue Berry and her incredible team from Barrett Financial can be found at SueBerry.com. That's Berry with an A. I've been working with Sue and recommending her to you for years. All you need to do is call her now so she can get you pre-approved. Just call your residential and commercial lending expert, Sue Berry, at 775-843-9983. Oh, Rob, stop. You're going too fast. What was the number again? 775-843-9983. Or just head to SueBerry.com. The number's right there. Berry is B-A-R-R-Y. Sue Berry with an A.com. That's Sue Berry, B-A-R-R-Y.com. SueBerry.com.
Disclaimer, Sue Berry, NMLS number 366040, Barrett Financial Group, LLC, NMLS number 181106, Nevada 5091, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Opinions? Check. Facts, stats, and insight? Check. Wild overreactions and made-up disagreements? Sorry, you've come to the wrong place. This is the home of two guys sitting around just talking sports. The Rob and Steve Show on the Rad Network.
Let's jump over to Major League Baseball. We'll get you updated on things that happened over the weekend, where everybody stands as we head towards mid-June, and the All-Star break. 3 weeks away now? The Atlanta Braves, who have suffered the last couple of seasons through a variety of injuries, and are yet having an amazing season with a .648 winning percentage, 21 games above 500. They are the best team in Major League Baseball. And now Spencer Strider, their starting pitcher, is on the 15-day injured list after imaging, revealed inflammation in his right elbow. He departed midway through Friday's game against the Mets with right shoulder and elbow soreness. That's so vague. Strider was making his 8th start of the season after missing the first 34 games, recovering from a strained left oblique. He's 4-2 with a 5.31 ERA this season, and 11-16 with a 4.66 ERA since returning from the elbow surgery last year. He's never really been Spencer Strider again, Steve.
No, he is not, and it's a shame. From the article I was reading, is there's no real timetable on him. He's getting tests. His velocity was down, and they're going to find out what they need to do to get him right. And if I'm the Braves, I'm not worried about this short term. I am concerned long term. They need Spencer Strider to be the Spencer Strider that we have known over the years, and they need him come September and October if they're going to have any chance to win a World Series.
Without knowing the severity, but knowing the history, especially this season, Steve, of these injuries start out as or nothing, no concern, boom, 60 days. If Strider is legitimately, like we said, he hasn't been himself. If he is legitimately hurting, does this put the Braves more in buy territory, like we need somebody else in case Strider can't do it?
I think they've already been in that mode. We keep seeing Martin Perez go out there, pitch pretty good, get released, sign back with the Braves. They need a starter again. Let him throw, pitch pretty good, let him go. I think they've been in it. They're not going to overpay. They're not going to look. We're going to mortgage the future for that pitcher right now. I think they're waiting for someone, maybe a Sonny Gray who is out there that they feel fit into it. Their bullpen's been really good, although Iglesias gave it up the other night with a little bit of a meltdown. But their team, they've been rock solid, one of the best in baseball pitching and hitting. But with Strider going down now, I think they really are going to be more so in the starting pitching. Their pitching's been hurt from the get-go, and it was just, we got to get them healthy. We got to get them healthy. Not sure Strider will be, and if and when he comes back, is he going to be like Walker Buehler, where he's finally now looking good? But remember, Buehler came back 2 years ago in the postseason, looked all right for the Dodgers, and then last year was a disaster with the Red Sox and the Phillies, and even starting this year with the Padres, he struggled because he didn't have the zip on his fastball. He didn't overpower hitters anymore, and he's learning how to become a pitcher. He's learning that art of pitching if he wants to stay in the big leagues. He's been very successful over his last handful of starts, but the Braves can't wait for that with the Strider. If he comes back, they can't teach him the art of pitching. It's going to take time, and that's not going to work for him this season.
This is such a Gen X based comedy. The Braves, we were all exposed to the Braves as teens or children because of TBS, and it was the only real mega network, so we all saw the Braves all the time. And then they went to World Series after World Series, and they closed a little bit, but they were the Bills. Are the Braves? Because I haven't heard him mentioned. Are they in a position where they should be looking at Skubal?
Oh, I would love to. And one of the things with the Braves is they've been very smart in signing their young stars to team-friendly deals for long term. Skubal would fit in nicely with them, with Chris Sale at the top and Skubal. That would be a steal. I've never heard that mentioned. When they've talked Skubal, Braves have never come up. But Wow. Let's throw Scooble into there. Are the Dodgers really hands down favorites if the
Right?
Braves have
That's
Scooble? I'm not
that's what
sure
I'm
they are
thinking.
because I said the one team that matches up lineup wise, pitching wise, if their pitchers in that starting rotation are healthy, were the Braves. And if you throw Scooble in there, I think they are right with the Dodgers step for step.
Speaking of Scooble, he returned from elbow surgery Saturday after the Scooble scope got his foreign bodies out of his elbow. That's his first start since April 29th. Had some rust, pitched 4 and 2/3 innings, 3-1 loss to the Guardians. He was lifted after 80 pitches by AJ Hinch. It seemed fine to me. I mean, fine. What do you expect? It's just a matter, right, of innings start to look like Tariq Skubal again. You and I have speculated about the Tigers and their delusion. Would they look at, well, actually, we're going to make a run at the wild card? Or is this about putting him on display? See, he's fine and make us your best off. We don't know still. The Tigers, hey, they're not in last place anymore. They're half a game ahead of the Kansas City Royals. Tigers have lost 2 in a row. They're going to head off and play Houston tonight. But if you look at that desperation thing, Steve, I mean, the Tigers rattle off a few. We already knew this to death, but I don't know.
Right. They were starting to play really good because they were getting healthy. Right before Scooble comes back, they rush him back. And I don't think there's any other way to really say it. They rush him back because they need to showcase him and or salvage their season. They're 0-2 since he's come back. So I don't know how much he's salvaging. I thought he had a good outing. I really did. There's a lot of rust there. Uh, but he threw the ball well, only one walk. That's one of the things I look at when a pitcher's coming back from an injury. How quickly do they have command of the strike zone? And are they walking batters? He did well. The Tigers playing good. I mean, Gleyber Torres is back. This guy's hitting like 282 at the top of the lineup. Dingler, their catcher, has just been on fire the last couple of weeks, hitting with power as well. And Riley Green quietly putting together a rock solid season, hitting around 300 or above the entire season long. Do I think they're going to make a serious run and win a World Series? No. Do I think they might be able to make a push for a wild card if Scooble's healthy? Yes. Do I think it's the right thing for them? No. I would be looking to move it. And now that you brought that up, I'd be making a phone call to the Braves here within the next week or so and saying, hey, what kind of farm system you got? Who do you have there? You have some good young ball players. Let's talk.
By the way, first place in that American League Central is technically not the Cleveland Howardians. They are 39 and 33. The White Sox are 38 and 32 by 0.001 percentage points. The White Sox are still in first place in the American League Central. Meanwhile, the Guardians have lost Jose Ramirez, 7-time All-Star third baseman. He's sidelined, they say, well into the second half of the season. Again, vague. That could be September, for goodness sakes. We keep talking about same thing. White Sox Guardians. White Sox Guardians. They're both and the White Sox. They're not playing today. They finish up their 9-game. Turns out to be an 8-game test because one of the games was postponed. Tomorrow they'll go to New York and play the Yankees. And the White Sox have one win in a row. And the Guardians have 2 in a row. And it's becoming more and more like a real race there.
Yeah, the Guardians' injury to Jose Ramirez, he's the team leader. He has been for many years, him being out for a while. I don't know if I'm remembering correctly. I thought he broke his hamate bone. And if that's the case, not only is he going to be out for a while, but when he does come back, players usually have a hard time coming back and hitting with any authority, such as power. And they need his bat in the middle of that lineup with power. So that was a tremendous blow for this Guardians team if it was his hamate bone. White Sox just continue to get it done. They took 2 of the 3 from the Dodgers. I'm loving it. Big win again yesterday, 6-4. Uh, White Sox, and I don't want to see them get swept. I'd love to see them sweep the Yankees, but I think the White Sox have done enough in this tough stretch of games, as you said, this 9 games, for me for it already to be a success. They're showing they belong. They're hitting with power, and a player that I haven't really brought up. These young players. Shortstop Colton Montgomery is an unbelievable shortstop with tremendous power. He hit, I want to say, his 17th homer yesterday. The White Sox, on top of playing that small ball with taking the extra bases, rock solid fundamentals. They also are hitting with power with Vargas. And their big guy from Japan, he's been out for a while. Not sure when he's going to come back. Kyle Teal, who was their catcher of the future, has been out for the start of the season. He should be coming back here shortly. They're getting it done with mirrors, but they're getting it done. And credit to Venable, their new manager.
If we jump over to the American League East, there's another race there. It's still the Yankees and the Rays. The Rays are in second by a game. Next closest you get, Blue Jays are back by 10, Orioles 10.5, Red Sox 13.5. We talked last week that Boston Red Sox Aroldis Chapman says he's owed an apology from the Yankees for the way the team treated him at the end of the 22 season. And New York manager Aaron Boone over the weekend said, yeah, he doesn't need that. He doesn't get that. Chapman was ruled out of the Yankees divisional series against Cleveland in October 22 after he skipped a mandatory workout. Chapman said that Yankees general manager Brian Cashman owes him an apology. Asked Friday about his comments, Aaron Boone said the facts speak for themselves, said he wasn't at the workout. I made the decision. What is this all about? Does Chapman want to go back and play for the Yankees, but only if he gets an apology?
It's just telling me that Chapman is still bitter from being left off the postseason roster for the mandatory meeting he missed and the way his tenure there ended. And Cashman was the GM. Boone was the manager. You have to believe neither of them want him back either. So it's stirring up controversy. It's the Red Sox Yankees. And, I read it as well. I just don't see Chapman going back there. I think that bridge burnt down with him with the way he left the team. And if I'm Cashman and I know how he left the team, do I really want to make a trade at all for him and bring that into the clubhouse, especially since he comes out and says he's owed an apology? So I would just say there's 28 other teams maybe that Chapman goes to, but I don't think it'll be the Yankees.
Now, as for the Yankees, we mentioned they're off today. They will host the White Sox starting tomorrow. They're a game ahead of the Tampa Bay Rays, who will play the Dodgers tonight, who made plenty of news like they usually do over the weekend. Shohei returned to the starting lineup Saturday after missing games because of the inflammation in his left knee. He does remain on track to pitch Wednesday against Tampa Bay. You had Yoshinobu Yamamoto sail into the ninth inning with a no-hitter bid. He sailed into what inning with the perfect game? I was watching it in Mookie Betts. It was a bad hop at short. He could have fielded it, didn't. And I forget who was playing second. He had a shot to grab it with his bare hand, didn't. You could see the pressure. This had to be the seventh, right? You could see the pressure on the fielders going, oh my God, perfect game, perfect game. But Yamamoto still had a shot at the no-hitter. Tristan Peters hit a leadoff homer for the White Sox to break that up. This is the second or third time Yamamoto's flirted with this. So Shohei's back, seemingly healthy, prepared to pitch Wednesday, and Tampa Bay opens up against the Dodgers tonight. The Dodgers are obviously we're way ahead and doing great, and I'll find that while you talk about something else, Steve.
Yeah, Tristan Peters. He's the Savannah Bananas guy I was talking about who broke it up and hit the home run, which was great. Dodgers lost 2 of 3 from the White Sox, but this team will be quite all right. The Yankees, going to the Yankees Rays. The Yankees, 5 runs in the ninth inning to beat the Blue Jays, 2-run homer, a 3-run homer. Big series. Aaron Judge has been out. We said their pitching's got to carry them. Their pitching has been carrying them, doing a great job right now. The Yankees are 7-3 in their last 10 games, getting it done. Ben Rice is still just having a great year. Tampa Bay has come back down to earth a little bit. They're 5-5 in their last 10. You pull the Red Sox out, and they really haven't played well in the last couple of weeks. This will be a big series against the Dodgers to see what they can do, as the Yankees going to be challenged by the White Sox, who continue to hit the ball, play good baseball. So I'm excited to see that. And it's good to see Shohei's okay back into that lineup.
So the Dodgers are sitting on a 7-game lead over the Padres, 8.5 over the Diamondbacks, and you got the Giants and the Rockies down there, 16 and 18 games back. The Padres, meanwhile, are at St. Louis today with Giolito against Dustin May, and it feels like, Steve, the Padres really need to put something together soon. Shortstop Xander Bogaerts was struck in the helmet by a pitch, removed from the game 2 innings later on Saturday. They eventually emerged with a 9-3 victory, but you've got that lingering over their heads and the hitting problems that are going on with the Padres. But here's that was, I don't know any of the story behind it, but it went right at Bogart's head, and it was a scary moment. And it's been a season of what are the Padres doing in general.
Yeah, you never want to see that to any player. I think the pitch just got away from the pitcher. I don't think he intentionally hit him. This is a great game tonight with the Padres Cardinals. Lucas Giolito has struggled as of late. The Padres need him to step up. They need a reliable starting pitcher that he has been in the past. Their hitting has been questionable. Fernando Tatis finally got a couple of big hits over this weekend. But Giolito's ERA is over 6 in his last 3 outings. His whip is over 2. Dustin May is going for the Cardinals. The Cardinals just continue to find ways to win. Dustin May has really turned it around, started off and on season, but his last 3 outings, his ERA is at 2. His whip is 0.75, just like um, Walker Bueller. He has really turned it around and started commanding his pitches again. And the Padres need to find a way to win because they're not winning the division, but they need to stay in that wild card race.
So in that National League West, the Giants and the Rockies are down there at the bottom. The Giants are tied, a 3-way tie for the second worst team in the National League. They've split the last 10, 5-5. They've let Bryce Eldridge actually hit. They have to go into Atlanta starting tomorrow. We can talk more about that tomorrow as we preview the game. Everybody's kind of clinging to that. At what point do the Giants burn it down? I don't know if we've run out of adjectives to describe how bad they are, but we'll see how they perform starting tomorrow against the Braves.
Yeah, and I think they need to go into that sell mode into the break. And for me, the number one question I'd have for Buster Posey is, where does Eldridge fit? Do you want him to be a first baseman, or is he going to be a career DH? I think they have to figure that out as their number one objective, and then piece together how they're going to go into the trade deadline and burn it, not really fully burn it down, but bring it down and build for next year. Or are they going to make him a DH? That they have to determine. Eldridge is showing he belongs to be there, but is he a first baseman or is he going to be a DH?
And there's so much more though that the Giants need to do. I mean, they need to burn this whole thing down. I don't think they're going to fire Buster Posey. I don't know what they're going to do about Vitello, but they should certainly be in sell mode.
Oh, they have to be in sell mode. If they're not in sell mode, I've becoming very critical of Buster Posey. Maybe they move Chapman, they move Devers back to third base and put Eldridge at first. I think Luis Ariz is going to go away. I think they're going to trade him at the break to a team that's looking for him. He's played really good second base for the Giants. I just don't see him as the Giants' second baseman of the future. Had some bright spots. Lee is starting to hit in that outfield. Casey Schmidt has shown he deserves an everyday position. Are they going to play him at second? They're going to play him in left field. Where exactly are they going to play him and allow him to continue to develop? And let's bring up some of these kids as they're starting to do to see where they fit as well.
I forget how I phrased the text. I think I might have said he's out of his mind or he's not on this planet, but one of these names that you've been repeating for a while and then everybody catches up continues to wow the baseball world. Jacob Misiorowski, the Brewers' nearly untouchable fireballing right-hander, tossed the first complete game and shutout of his career, and he only needed 95 pitches to toss a one-hitter and strike out 15 Phillies Friday. Only Schwarber singled in the fourth. He was then erased by a double play. So Miz faced the minimum 27 batters. Brewers won 6-0. Oh, and he struck out Schwarber in the first when he threw a 104.5-mile-an-hour pitch. I'm running out of adjectives for Mizorowski.
Well, now I think everyone's seeing why I have been so in love with this guy and the tools that he has and the ceiling. I don't even think he's fully there. Although the way he's pitched his last 7 games, I think he's been there. And you didn't even hit on, and I don't have his numbers, but I think in his last 7 outings, he's gone something like 54 innings, has given up 1 earned run during that stretch. His ERA is 0.20, I believe is what it is. And his whip, something like 0.4. And don't hold me exactly to those numbers, but he is experiencing one of the best 7-game stretches, 8-game stretches. I think we have seen those in the modern, like in my lifetime type of thing. And I saw J.R. Richard go through it, and he was unbelievable. We've seen, great seasons from Roger Clemens, Doc Gooden, etc. But Mizorowski's last 7, 8 starts has matched all of them.
The one thing I didn't say that I will add in is I mentioned the 104.5 mile an hour pitch on the first batter of the game. His last pitch was 103 miles an hour.
At 95th.
Yes, his 95. I mean, my God. Wow.
Could this be the next Nolan Ryan? And I keep talking about how they do the speed gun out of their hand versus across the plate. And they say it's in that 6 to 7 miles an hour. Well, knock that off. And that means he's throwing back in the day at 98, 99. His last pitch would have been clocked at what, 98.5 miles an hour. That's Nolan Ryan territory. Very few pitchers have really hit that type of velocity on the radar gun if you use it the way it used to be.
And I mean, we always got to slow our roll on some of this. Again, you just hope no body spurs or whatever, dead bodies or injuries,
loose
or,
bodies in the elbow.
There you go. The loose bodies in the elbow, and it's interesting with the Brewers, and they feel like that team that keeps being a quality team that never really feels like they're gonna go that deep or go deep enough. And is this the Mizorowski will be a Dodger or a Yankee watch kind of thing eventually?
No, because we're going to strike and not have it, and they're going to bring in a salary cap. Thus, it's going to give a lot more teams, because they have to spend the money, an opportunity to make the playing field much more level for all the teams.
Mentioned when we started the show, by the way, show's intentionally going to end a few minutes early here, and we'll be back tomorrow at our usual time. And we are on Spotify now. You can go to the radnetwork.com, hit the Spotify button. Everything's up there, and we'll post everyday's show shortly after. The ridiculosity that was the A's playing in Vegas, not in the stadium, arena, whatever you want to call it, that they're going to play when they move to Vegas. But it was sort of a, hey, look at us, we're here in Vegas. They spent the week there, did a lot of PR stuff that they showed, going to the children's hospitals and interviewing. I didn't know Jason Giambi was a big Vegas guy. I guess he lives there, and he's a huge ambassador for the A's moving there. They had him on, and so what was yesterday? 23-9, the A's lost. They won 2, though, against the Rockies. These balls are just flying everywhere. The A's did sneak back to 1 game under 500 through this process.
And the question I am wondering today is, and how do you change it? Are the architects and the front office and the decision makers for the A's rethinking the dimensions of this ballpark after watching this series? I mean, A's scored 9 last night. Were never in the game. I mean, I shouldn't say that. They were in the game for the first couple of innings.
Yeah,
but are they rethinking it? Because depending on home plate and what way the field goes, and I believe the field is going to go more northwest. So as in home plate, because it's on the east side of the strip, and they're showing casinos out in center field. So is it a home plate south and it goes north, or is it southeast and it goes northwest. But what are they going to do? You can't be playing these type of games as major league games. We saw it in Colorado. It didn't work. Are they going to bring in a dehumidifier to deaden the balls? I think there needs to be a lot of talk on decision makers or how the A's are going to address it. Are they going to now put up 20-foot fences? And I don't know if they had 8-foot fences there, dimensions. They're going to push it back a little bit. I'm just hoping they build a little flexibility to adjust the playing field once we see how it truly plays.
I'm trying to remember, Steve, because we went through so many machinations with this new field for the A's and such. Did they settle on a dome, and would that fix the issue?
It's not a dome. It's that armadillo looking thing with the plates that stack over top of each other. It looks like it came from Australia, but it will be open air. And I don't know how you run air conditioning out of it looks like tarp type things that go over the field with the open air when it's 118. That's the part I've never understood from this at all. How is it not a fully completed, enclosed stadium? Yes, have the retractable roof. Bring it up. It's beautiful here in April, May, September, October. It's just June, July, and August. I mean, it's miserable. And you're going to play in an open air stadium with tarps that go over top of it. And I don't think they're actual tarps. I think they're going to be hard. But I struggle with the design of the ballpark.
Is it the air that's the issue with these balls flying out? Because you had non-Vegas people trying to talk like they knew Vegas over the weekend, and so I wanted to ask a Vegas guy: is it? And we talked about this a little bit last week when this was all going on. But is it the air and just the presence of the type of air that's in Vegas?
I think it's a combination of both. One, it's 3,000 feet above sea level. I believe this will be the second highest stadium as far as elevation in Major League Baseball at 3,000 feet. I'm sorry, I can hit a golf ball farther in Las Vegas than I can hit in Sacramento, and you put everything else the same. Then you add that dry heat. The ball carries a lot better in the desert heat because there's no humidity as opposed to what you get in these other places. So you have the higher elevation, which adds to it. You have that dry heat, which adds to it. Just go play golf down here. You will see it carries more, and it's going to carry in the baseball games as well.
A's are starting up tonight hosting the Pirates. Looks like they'll miss Paul Skeens. Good test for both teams to see where they stack up as the Pirates are currently, fourth in the National League Central. They're at 500, 8.5 games behind the Brewers, but they are in position if they want to make a run at the wild card down the road as they continue to work their way through the season.
Yeah, and I like the pitching matchup. I want to see Jared Jones. Is he back? This will be, I think, his third start since he's come back from injury. This is where he needs to take the step up. First outing, really rusty. Second outing was better, but not back to it by this point. Hopefully he's got his accuracy back. He's a really good young pitcher. And JT Ginn, can't say enough about him. He's been the one guy who's been rock solid for this A's this entire season long. And he's on the mound again. He's 2-0 in his last 3 outings. His ERA is just over 3. His WHIP slightly under 1.2. You couldn't ask for anything more from JT Ginn. And I'm hoping that Jones steps up, and this is a great game.
Have a great day. We're back tomorrow.
This has been a presentation of the Rob and Steve Sports Show, brought to you by the Rad Network and is copyrighted by the radnetwork.com and Williams Broadcasting for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, accounts, or descriptions of whatever Rob and Steve just talked about without the express permission of the Rad Network, Williams Broadcasting, and Rob's really mean lawyers is prohibited. So don't